Hello, my beautiful sisters. So I'm here with Marcella for the very last time, for at least for Water Goddess training. Let's see if I can get her here for another book in the future. Hint, hint. Okay, Marcella. I love working with you. Let me put our names so people know who we are. Today we're going to do lesson 8, 9, and 10 of Warrior Goddess training. We're closing it up. And then, like always, we'll do a what's next little scenario. Okay. So, lesson 8, Speak Your Truth. Marcella, can you give us a little breakdown of what that chapter is about?
Speak Your Truth is aligning with your authentic voice, learning to say no when you mean to say no instead of, and instead of like trying to not deal with the discomfort or to coming from a place of waiting for the reaction of the other person. So, yeah, aligning with your authentic voice. Yeah.
I'm seeing here, and I'm like huge on integrity. My girls know that one of the first things I did was I focused on The Integrity Advantage by Kelly Casso when I entered this because I'm so huge on integrity. So this lesson really hit me, right? So one of the things that I noticed that I highlighted was, give me 1 second, there you go. So we use our voices all the time, but many of us were never taught how to use our words to communicate or stand up for ourselves in difficult or awkward situations. For many of us, lessons learned in childhood taught us to close down our true, authentic voice, which is integrity. Often, by the time we are adults, we have no idea how we actually feel or think about things, let alone how to convey that information clearly to others. And I think that's huge. Like being able to explore communication now, because we were closed off as children on average. If the brother would pull over the lamp and I'd get in trouble, right? As an example. Or ways that we can use our voices. Children would speak up, and what would happen? Oh, children are meant to stay quiet and in a corner. What? It's actually not true at all, right?
Yes. Well, integrity and using the voice, it's it kind of, like I said before, lessons built on each other, like opening your heart. It's a big part of being able to come out from an open and authentic place. So integrity, I see also as the right connection between mind, heart, and how we come out to the world. Because that's what you actually, get back.
Yeah. And I think speaking your truth also has to do a lot with, being able to say no when you mean no, saying yes when you mean yes, not having like in between, and of course boundaries as well, right?
Yes. As we practice saying yes and no, is a great exercise to feel it in your body and to really keep doing the same thing. This is about witnessing what is your modus operandum when it comes to, speaking your truth. Do you try always to conform? Do you let others decide? Because this really takes a big toll in your power.
Yeah.
And it makes you lose a lot of energy. And it can be as little as what kind of restaurant do you want to go to, or it can be something huge. Let's say no to a hurtful situation that you don't want to deal with anymore. So we suggest 2 exercises that it's one is called replaying and the other one is backtracking. Backtracking is the most important. Replaying has to do with things in the past. We all...
Can you for the definition?
Well, replaying, exactly. The definition is right there in the book. The replaying is actually going to a past situation and seeing how it played out. And just going back and seeing, okay, how would I have that outcome changed if I said something else, if I told my truth. And backtracking, it's just if somebody calls you and tells you, oh, do you want to go to the movies, or do you want to go to a restaurant today? And you say yes. If you really, really feel in your body that the answer was no, just call back. Call back and say, I just realized that I really want to take a rain check and go to the movies some other day.
You know, I'd heard of backtracking before when it comes to focusing on integrity and authenticity. If you said yes but you mean no, going back, right?
Mhm.
And then just saying, "Hey, I apologize. I really thought about it and I really don't want to do that," right? So that's
Absolutely.
but replay time I heard it. I'm gonna say the sentence just so I can get it for myself, honestly.
Yeah.
With replaying, you consciously replay conversations from your past
Mhm.
when you didn't speak your truth. But this time, you imagine yourself speaking your truth. So compared to, it's more of a, you may not want to go up to the person and actually say your truth at that moment. You're kind of still, you know, afraid to. It's okay as long as you practice it and visualize it, because the mind doesn't know the difference between visualization and what's actually happening anyways, right?
I can recount like zillions of situations in the past when I was
Yeah.
younger. Just
And you
people
can't go
coming
back.
up to me, yeah, people coming up to me and make me uncomfortable or be nasty or whatever the situation was, and I will get mute and paralyzed, or I will not say what I needed to say at the moment. And then I will go home and ruminate for an hour. Oh, I should have said that. Oh, no, no, this is what I wanted to say, not that. And, that should be a red flag that you are
Yeah.
uncomfortable speaking your truth when you're supposed to. And so, yeah, that's also a practice of being and witnessing what comes out of our
Yeah.
mouth and, in every situation. And also in the book, she mentions a book called Messages that
Oh yeah,
teaches.
I'm actually that one. The Communication Skills book by Matthew McKay, Martha
Mhm.
Davis, and Patrick Fanning, and it teaches the whole messages,
Honey, that is
right?
a big deal.
That's
It's,
huge.
I know. That is actually that. If you read that book or you read that nonviolent communication, it's
Yeah.
it you're like, okay, I don't know how to talk. I don't know how to communicate. I really,
Yeah.
because we
Yeah.
always blame. We say, you make me feel like this. We have all these, or we don't really convey what we need and we
Mhm.
expect the other person to guess. This happens a
Well,
lot in close relationships.
let me go ahead and explain what whole messages is to those that didn't get there
Please.
yet.
Yes.
So, whole messages include four different things: our observation of the situation, so the facts, our thoughts, which may be true or not true, our feelings, our emotional experience, and our needs. What do we want? So the idea is a fact is the observable, measurable, honest to goodness truth of what happens. So compared to saying, well, in my perspective or in my opinion or what happened to me was, you just say the facts. Okay? So you got your bag stolen, right? Someone took my bag and I was so upset. That's okay. But what happened was you were walking down the street, someone came along, took your bag and ran, and you ran after them. Fact. Make sense? This is our thing around in our head about the situation. So I thought when someone came near my bag next time that they were going to steal it too. So I was super careful about it. Make sense? Cool. And then the third part of clear communication is scared when that I felt Marcella was just explaining. And the fourth part of clear communication is stating your needs can sometimes really throw you for a loop. So it's really talking about instead of saying like, I'd like it if you picked up your clothes off the floor and put them in, well, that's what you want to say. I'd like it if you picked up the clothes off the floor and put them in the hamper. Or what is, okay, hold on. I got to read this one through. Do you have that one down packed, Marcella? I think I've
Actually,
got.
actually, I, when I read it, I can really get it, and then I'm not able to do it. So
Okay, I got you. So it was tremendously empowering to name the need. I'd like it if you picked up your clothes off the floor and put them in the hamper. Please call me if you're going to be more than 10 minutes late. I need more structure. Can we set up a time to create an outline for the project? Important note, just because you share a need doesn't mean the person you are talking to can fulfill it or even that they should. What is most important is being clear with what your need is, then exploring how to fulfill that need in creative ways with yourself or with others. So if you hate it when someone's late, just ask them, hey, are you going to be on time? If you're going to be 10 minutes late, please let me know. So then you're in communication versus waiting there and being like, hello, where is this person? Oh my God. And then your needs not being met. But they didn't, haha.
Actually, actually, I found that I did have this practice and I learned to ask for what I need.
Mm-hmm.
What happens is that usually it's so uncomfortable that to get to the point to separate those four components in a, because you're upset. How are you going to, or you are triggered, or you don't want to hurt the other person. So what we learn about putting a period before we react or we talk or we say, it's so important. And then if we can be really, really mindful and practice and read the messages book and get it, that totally helps. But what I found that happens is that when you practice the prior lessons, you commit to yourself, so you are not going to speak anything against yourself. And you keep your heart open, or you practice keeping your heart open. You come from your power inside, not outside. So once you start aligning all these aspects, speaking your truth becomes easier and easier. So instead of exploding, you practice just, you stop and you choose your words, because words are very, very powerful.
And I think it's important to know that you're going to mess up and that it's okay.
Absolutely.
Like, this is a practice, right? And practice makes permanent, right? Not perfection.
And we go back to not judging.
Yes. So it's truly important, like Marcella said, to notice without judgment and to ask yourself little questions just to guide yourself. Remember, you're on the right path. And this connects to all the other lessons. Was I able to keep my heart open? How do I feel about myself now? Did I say exactly what I meant to? And one of the huge things that she mentions is like one note of caution. Speaking your truth does not mean you always say everything you are thinking. So we must be careful not to use the practice of speaking our truth as an excuse to be cruel or hurtful. So we're here to open our hearts, and speaking your truth is another way to do that. Not as a way to be cruel and extra mean. Like, do I look fat in this? Oh, hell yeah, woman. No. Right? Do I look fat in this? Well, maybe you could try something else on so I could really get, the basis point here. What are we going for? Right? You're still speaking your truth in a nice way. You're not hurting people's feelings all the time. I've had that problem.
It has to come from a place of love.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Even if you're saying something that is uncomfortable.
Yes, exactly.
For the other person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. So I think that was the basis point of lesson 8. We have explorations left, finding your truth. To learn more about your own truth in communicating, write down everything you believe about how you should communicate in the world. Write without thinking. Read the list over and notice what agreements/thoughts are about getting a desired result/reaction from the person you are talking to, which stem from your authentic expression. And then what she also says is to get a buddy, get a friend, and do the vent, advice, share. So if I were to be like, Marcella, I need a vent, and then she's like, okay, you got 5 minutes, go. And she doesn't give me any advice. She just holds the space for me to be there for me, which, by the way, we do that with her new moons and full moon rituals.
Yes.
It is. I love them. So we do vent, or you have to be able to make sure that they say, give it to me, right? That they are okay with the vent. Sometimes a person may not be able to hold your space correctly at that moment because they may be going through something, and that's huge to know the difference. Okay, don't just start venting and think that they can handle it. Like, pretty much make sure that they can handle it at that moment, and they know to not give advice. Another thing is, if you want advice, say advice, right? You want advice at that moment. And the last thing is share, right? You just want to share, and you don't really want to hear, the other ways, but it's going to be a lot nicer share than the venting is more like, ah, kind of
She
thing.
has another one called, cheerleading.
Oh, yeah? I didn't hear about
When
that.
you want to just, talk and about a project or whatever is happening in your life, and you want the other person to just go, yeah, go for it.
That's a good one. I like cheerleader. Okay, I
Yeah.
want to do that. I want to do that with you, Marcella, later.
All right.
Okay. We should definitely practice that in the new mood. That'd be cool. Okay,
Yeah.
so lesson 9, embody your wisdom. Give us a little area. What are we talking about here, Marcella?
Well, we're talking about connecting to our intuition. That's pretty much what it is about. And it's practicing what the warrior goddess practice, which is discernment. When we get a message, how do we get a message? Starting to study that in ourselves. Some people are visual, some people hear, or they call them downloads.
Divine downloads is my thing.
Sense in your body, a gut feeling. We're talking about that, aligning with the feeling of and the intuition in any situation that will make you act in a certain way.
Yeah. And I think this is really interesting because I'm a huge, and I'm in Clarity Catalyst. We always talk about intuition, mindfulness, meditation, journaling, different ways to really get your intuition out there, working on a cyclical living, which she also mentioned in the book in the past. But I think this part was huge, distinguishing the mind's habits from true intuition. Being able to tell, is this my mind speaking or is this my intuition talking? Because a lot of the times before this book, I would do whatever it was, and sometimes it would be my mind, and I wouldn't know the difference. So this really had me open up and practice and be like, okay, is this my gut/heart speaking, or is this my mind speaking, and try and get it out there? And I noticed that my mind was more of a voice of judgment or running away from fear, while my heart was more about love and really moving forward in life, being able to trust myself and trust my environment correctly, not just, in a fearful way.
I think that it also starting to know what the difference is between a thought and a feeling sense.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah, it's that connection. It's that they call it like, just getting out of the mind and coming from the heart. Most of the time. Yeah. And also it does have a pattern. It does. If you really pay attention, you do have a way that you receive this type of information. And being open and aware of the synchronicities, when these things happened, everything has a lot of meaning if you're really open to, getting out of the mind.
And I think it's interesting because she says the mind is a sum total of your experiences and belief system, and it often operates from a place of fear and desire, right? So she says the skill of the warrior goddess is to distinguish the habits of the mind from genuine intuitive messages. The first step is to untangle intuition and spiritual connection from any of your old stories and belief systems. So to be able to know the difference, and I think of it kind of like when I have tons of wires together, right? And you don't know what's mind and intuition, and you kind of have to sit there and untangle it for a little bit and be aware that you're untangling, and then you could separate them, and then it's not a big deal anymore, right? As long as you continuously tie it together, put rubber bands around each one, make sure you take care of them versus just piling them on top of each other again.
Yeah, and when are you just open to new ways?
Yep.
You're not biased or judging whatever comes to you, or when are you just acting according to those systems that you carry from the past?
Correct. And I'm at watching the outcome, which is an exercise on page 125. And she mentions that watch the outcome is if you're really not certain if it's your mind or your intuition going on, then just watch the outcome with no judgment, of course, right? And with great curiosity, and learn the subtleties of an intuitive sign versus one from the mind. Another practice, I don't know if she mentions this, I think she does in this book, but I know that she's mentioned it at some point, is she said to write down your intuitions, what you think is your intuition, whether you take action or not. So, for example, I have I have an intuition list. I have a universe list as well. I have an intuition list where I write down, okay, well, for example, for my ex and that very toxic relationship, my intuition told me, oh, something's gonna happen here. It's not gonna be for the best. But my mind was like, you know what? Screw it. Go for it. We already know. Right? Let's make the best out of it. Let's see how we can stop it. Let's try to control the situation. Right? So it was interesting to be able to watch the outcome through time, me literally hurting myself. And it was because my mind was stopping. And I had written down in my intuition list when I looked over a year later, this isn't going to work out. So it's interesting to always go back and to not judge yourself upon it. Okay, I did that. That was very interesting. Now we know. And now I know that sign compared to listening to my mind. So yeah,
absolutely.
She literally did mention it here.
She does. She does. Yeah, there is an exercise on page 126, actually.
Yes, there you go. This is cool. She says feeling/thought. So example, I need to leave for work early today. Action, I left for work 10 minutes early today. She wrote them the details, the results of what happened, and what she learned from it. Okay, it's my intuition or if it was my mind. That's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
I found that for many women, hashtag female entrepreneurs here, intuitive knowing is strong, but our capacity to trust ourselves is weak. That's huge.
Yep.
All right, what else we got here? Use others' intuitive insights with care. Another difficulty you may have is distinguishing between your intuition and other people's opinions. Ooh, definitely very true, especially for women these days, where they don't know if it's their own thought process or their own intuition, or if it's somebody else that told them that, and they're like, oh, but I got to do this. And it's mainly out of fear or worry that they're not going to fit in, or they're not going to, I'm forgetting the word I want to use, like attached, or they want to appear a specific way to their peers.
Absolutely.
Appear to the peers. That rhymed. I like it.
Appear to the peers.
Appear to the peers. Okay. Walking the warrior goddess path means learning to keep the emotions and thoughts of others separate from what is true for you. I like that a lot.
We all have that best friend, right?
We got to my favorite part. So I'm really huge on the maiden, mother, and crone, the female archetypes.
Yes.
And the Trinity. I remember when I was young, I first went to like the Renaissance Festival, and one of the first things I ever bought was like 3 little pictures that had the maiden with like the, oh my god, I'm forgetting the moon cycles right now. The waxing moon, or the waning moon. Yeah, the waning moon, the
triple goddess.
Yeah, I'm forgetting the waning and waxing right now. I always do that. I have a problem with my left and rights people. If I can get waning and waxing right, I'd be fantastic. So she mentions the maiden, mother, and crone. And I was so excited when I saw this part. Yes. The maiden is the energy of curiosity, exploration, youth, innocence, play, and sexual and sensual expression. The mother archetype is the energy of birthing and nourishing, whether this is children or projects of the heart. The crone archetype is the energy of sustainability, long-term, beneficial actions, nourishing the entire tribe without discrimination, and visionary wisdom. When we embrace our crone, we embody the best qualities of the maiden and mother and are in service to the highest good for all. And I love how she mentions, and I'm like, love this.
Yes.
You're breaking, and I love how she mentions that when you embody the crone, you embody the maiden and mother. A lot of people, and I've noticed this, you can notice this through magazines, TVs, wherever you want, they do what? What do they focus on, Marcella? I know
maiden.
Yes. And okay, I'm 22, so I can be saying this, right? But
it is true, and it doesn't matter if you are old or young. Like, for example, I have twin daughters, and my twin daughters, and you too. I mean, come on, you're amazing. You are tapping into, or getting into your life this thing of spirituality, intuition, and I mean, thank God, old age has its advantages, and embodying the crown, it's so important. Like, all women were considered by everybody, by the whole tribe, and were consulted in every decision because of their visioning and their intuition on how to proceed in any endeavors, anything that had to do with the tribe. So if we can embody that energy of the crown, we are going to be able to get absolutely more in touch with that part of ourselves.
Yeah. And it's interesting because it's kind of like when we think about maiden, some people think inner child, right? But so many of us focus on what? The beauty part.
Absolutely.
Right? And I think that's crazy. I think it's two different kinds of maidens that people are focusing on, or at least one aspect of it versus the entirety. And then there's, of course, mother, which most people get after they have a child, right? Not beforehand. I love that. I'm embracing my crone. Yeah. And then there's the crone, which is your wisdom, your intuition, your spiritual side, right? And it's fantastic that I feel like more and more people, or maybe it's my, what I'm projecting to the world, people are coming to me, but I've been noticing more and more people that are spiritual. And I think that's beautiful. We're getting there. We're getting there.
These are energies. It's not particularly tied to a specific age. Of course, you're going to go through all the processes and your body is attuned with, wherever you're at, but you do have access to all these energies.
Yes. And at all times, all ages, all sizes, whatever the panda.
Definitely. Remember, the most important thing of this whole journey is to be a choice.
Yes. I love that.
Yes. I'm all about freedom. It's about freedom from your old beliefs. It's the ability to choose every single time.
I haven't launched this yet. Nobody take my idea, please. I trust you girls with all my heart. But one of the things I've been wanting to do is ABC, awareness, balance, choice. And because everything's all about awareness. First, you have to be
something to say about all that. So
like my ABC.
I can.
Yeah. So I want to call it her ABC, right? And it's awareness, being aware of the things that are going on. And I think that's the first step, knowing the basics. Absolutely. Then getting the balance of, life, health, soul. And then, of course, it's choosing. What do you want to choose? What do you want to focus on? It's okay. You don't have to be in a balance at all times, right? And I'm learning that through our menstrual cycle. In particular, I'm learning the cyclical living of menstrual cycles. And you're not going to be in balance the entire time. It's going to be a whirlwind. You're going to have uncertainty. But as long as you keep working through that and knowing what your strengths are and your weaknesses are, that's my little ABC that I'm working with. I'll get there. But yeah. So yay.
That sounds fantastic. Yes.
So thank you. So last thing for lesson 9 is the silent knowledge, the Toltec silent knowledge. Marcella, I know you got this. What's the silent knowledge? Give us a little breakdown and I'll read it next.
Well, silent knowledge has to do with the energy of the crown, pretty much. Yeah, that's all there is.
So it's
that in. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No. If you want to read it, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay. I'll read it. Okay.
Yes.
So when we fearlessly step toward the crone energy, we access the Toltec silent knowledge. Silent knowledge includes but transcends our intuition. When we are connected to our intuition, we are receiving messages from the invisible world of spirit that helps us navigate this material world of form. When we connect with silent knowledge, we erase the boundary between these two worlds of spiritual and matter, known and unknown. We step beyond duality, beyond right and wrong, beyond rules and into absolute connection with all that is. As Don Miguel writes, inner silence is the place of silent knowledge where you know everything and you can see that there are multiple choices. like Marcella just mentioned.
It's like this thing of this concept of infinite possibilities. The Toltecs believe that this is a dream,
It's so
and
cool.
I know, and that so there's no difference. This is an illusion, and we're dreaming. So we are artists of the spirit. We are creating at each and every moment our lives, and we are artists of our lives. Our lives is the canvas, and we are the artists. So
And
that's why we liberate, and we untangle, and they work so much in stalking the mind and freeing and the energy. All the tools and all the steps that we worked on through the book have to do with moving all of this, changing perception, to get to the point where you realize that you're connected to everything, that this is a dream, and you live in infinite possibilities, and you have a choice every single time.
Multiple choices.
Yeah.
So she says, silent knowledge arises when we become still and expand our perception beyond our ego and personality and into the always present truth that we are one with all of life. We unplug from our own self-importance and realize that we are each a tiny cell in the body of the universe. From this awareness, we don't need to look for answers. Answers arise spontaneously within us because we are everything. The first step in developing a clear link to silent knowledge is to simply intend one. Your intent is powerful. So if you're kind of lost right now and you're like, okay, what the panda is silent knowledge? They talked about this for the last 5 minutes and I still have no idea what it is. Don't worry about it, right? She says to simply intend to have silent knowledge. Okay, so just make the affirmation, I am silent knowledge. I have silent knowledge.
It is what other Western traditions call being awakened, or to have an awakening, or that's what silent knowledge is. It's something that is already inside of you, and that you can get a glimpse, if you're lucky. It starts with awareness and doing all these little steps, working out, to free your perception about how you speak, how you open your heart, how you commit to yourself, how do you connect to your power. So those are the little steps and the little practices to start living from your integrity. You start feeling joy, you're more open, and you start looking at everything in a different way, instead of fear and that is everything or you were taught, or that it was passed to you through your ancestors, or all of that we went through in the last chapters.
Honestly, I like the idea of silent knowledge, because you said that the Toltecs believe that we are dreaming, right? So do we ever awaken? Is that silent knowledge to them? Is that why it's called awakening or enlightenment?
Well, I wanted to kind of like do a comparison so people can understand, because all the different wisdom traditions kind of like at the end, well, they intertwine, because we this thing that we are all one, that is a difficult one to really grasp.
I love that one. By the way, but I thought it was cuckoo a couple of years ago, and then one day it just hit me like a ton of bricks, and I was like, okay, we are one.
Yeah,
I'm all about oneness.
But it's something, again, that one thing is to have the intellectual knowledge of it, and another thing is to embody it, to really feel it and become it.
Correct.
Yeah.
So one thing that she mentions, and I know that some of you know that I've done the shadow process, and I mentioned I don't remember what last recording was, last lesson 7. I talked a little bit about shadow process in lesson 6 too. I've been going a little bit into it here and there and giving you girls like the inside scoop a little bit, and I'm going to give you girls another inside scoop. So throughout the shadow process, we have to stay silent. So we got this. We got in silence from the shadow process. Yeah. So one thing that Heather says is every once in a while, once a week, whatever it is, take 1 hour to be in silence. And silent knowledge will come from being in silence, being able to journal and get everything out and just live in silence. Have your two voices in your head kind of shush for a second, or it starts with you paying attention to them. It starts with you knowing which one is the voice of judgment, which one is the voice of wisdom, or if you want to call it the voice of fear and the voice of faith, the voice of worry, the voice of wonder, the mind monkey. There's all kinds of names for it, but at the end of the day, it's the same two voices in your head, right? Light, shadow.
Yeah, judge and victim, pretty much.
Yeah. Does Toltecs have a specific name for the two voices?
Well, she likes to call when the mind gets into like, yeah, you know, she likes to call it disaster mind.
Ah, okay, cool. All right. And yeah, so I've heard of that one too. And I've heard the empowering mind as well. The disaster mind and empowering mind. So there's all kinds of different names for it. It don't matter what you call it. It's the same thing, right? And she says, practical partial silence at a party or at work. Limit your speaking to only what is necessary and fill the spaces between with love or a specific intent. Several times a day, stop multitasking. When you are eating, just eat. When you are talking on the phone, just talk. And another thing I'm going to give you girls is this is practically mindfulness practicing, right? One of the things that Jennifer Grace taught me, and it's one of my favorites that I do all the time, is called color walks. And what you do is before you go out, you pick a color, right? So let's say you pick orange, or I'm going to go with yellow. Yellow is easier, right? You go with yellow. And then when you start walking outside, you focus on just yellow objects. Yellow, 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 yellow. And you start realizing, one of the first things I noticed was there was a pile of like a bush of flowers. They were all yellow. And I was like, when was that there? And I asked one of my neighbors, and my neighbor looked at me like I was crazy. Like, it's been there for years. How have you not noticed it? I was like, I thought I was good at mindfulness until this yellow practice. So focusing on just one color at a time really gets you to open up things even to your room. Another one is look at your hands. How much would I bet there's a wrinkle there that you haven't noticed before, right? So little things like that, just focus on being aware and do it in silence. You don't have to speak about it. Just be in the moment, okay? That's my little thing there. All right, so we're in lesson 10. Yay. Anything else you want to say before we move on to lesson 10?
Well, we just covered everything. Yeah.
Yay. Okay, so hiding lesson 9, going to lesson 10. Choose your path. All right, Marcella, give us the Wicca Wicca breakdown. I'm going to get a DJ board just for this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Choose your path. It's like after, working on everything we've been working, it's time to just leave the warrior goddess path and choose who do you want to be with all of this, with what you learned, with what you didn't learn. With this practice, you realize that you move kind of your perception about who you are, and you realize that you can be anything and all the roles you can imagine, as we just talked about, infinite possibilities and choice. Mm-hmm. And that silent knowledge that it's like the spirit in you. It's, so you have access to all of this. So it's playing with the roles you want to play in your life and choosing.
And I think it's huge that not only do you get to have infinite possibilities, but that you don't have to be stuck with your own definition or your own belief system.
You want to be fluid. Yes, you want to be fluid. The reality is that, it is possible.
I think this is a perfect timing now that we just had the autumn equinox and you just mentioned fluidity again, right? And we're moving into that state. So, wow, this was literally perfect timing for us to finish the book. And now we're moving forward with the autumn equinox, and and the next book is Urban Mystics. I can't wait to talk about that one. Okay. Excellent. So Heather Ash's invite. Remember that there is no one way to be a warrior goddess. So again, you realize you have a choice in what kind of warrior goddess you want to be. Okay, how much time you practice, how much time you put into it, if doing the 1 hour silence, not doing it for that matter, speaking with an open heart, being a little bit more truthful than others. You can be shy, you can be loud, you can be upbeat, energetic, ecstatic, sad, whatever is a warrior goddess to you and your definition of it. She gives us like 100 definitions throughout the book and different ways to be a warrior goddess. So choose whichever one fits for you. It's not, one size fits all. There's an
Absolutely.
extra small, a medium, a large, an
Absolutely. That we talked about that. I think it was in lesson 1 or 2 about having everybody has its own mix, its own percentage of warrior energy and goddess energy. You just have to find your own.
And I love the fact that in lesson 10, she says to define yourself now. We've already defined warrior goddess tons of time throughout the book, but this one is joyfully choosing to define yourself and who you want to be versus who you've made yourself be from this 5-year-old child that decided that you were going to be blank, X, Y, and Z. Now we get to choose who you want to be.
Well, actually, she keeps it very flexible. That's why the first practice, it's kind of like out there. As you move towards the end of the book, you realize that you play with imagination. She talks in this one, it's very beautiful. She invites you to create your big myth. Yes, the big myth and the little myth. So the big myth, it's you want to believe you came from, and you make it very like use your imagination. I think my big myth that actually this was told to me by a shamanic astrologer in Costa Rica, that she told me that I come from the stars, that I'm not from here, like my soul comes from somewhere else. And it gave me like total goosebumps, because I don't know how you call them. We call them the 7 little goats in Spanish, las siete cabritas. I think there's the Pleiades. Those 7 stars that are all together, a bunch of stars.
Yeah. Okay, the astrology.
Yeah. So I used to look at those through the window all of my life when I was a little girl. I will open the window, just look for those stars all of my life. And she told me I came from there. I believed her. I'm like, yes, that's why I was always looking at home, And it's funny. Yeah, I miss home. So, well, anyways, she is fantastic. And that was my big myth. I come from the stars. And I asked permission to come to Earth because I saw the suffering, and I chose my family, and I came here to, actually, I didn't know, but I came here to do my work. And Warrior Goddess training was part of that work. It pretty much ended my suffering. Seriously. I mean, what I came here to work with, and it opened me up through my healing and through my alignment with what I want to do. It just helped me now have my circles and just try to empower other women to do the same.
Yeah, and I think it's
to open up.
Something that all of you could do, right? And I'll tell you some of my little creative things. I haven't really decided which one's my favorite, so you girls can definitely help me. So your big myth is the big picture for how and why your unique, precious warrior goddess light arrived on the planet, right? So I have come up with different things like I love hers that she said, I'm a daughter of the goddess. That one hit me big time. Another one is I'm a huge Wonder Woman and Supergirl fan. So I was like, I'm an Amazon princess.
Yes.
Yeah. And another one was I am from the planet Well, yeah, I'm from the planet Kryptonite, and I've come here as Supergirl to save the world from and show them self-love and peace, right? And I'm also a Doctor Who fan, so I'm getting totally nerdy here. I am from Gallifrey. I have two hearts, and I am a Time Lord that has come here to show people their truth, to find their purpose. So I'm still working on which one's my favorite. Definitely. But those are just little extra examples. The one she has in here is I'm an angel finding her wings again. I'm a warrior of light sent by my tribe to explore planet Earth. I'm a messenger of faith, here to share my heart and scatter seeds of love everywhere I go. I bring peace and connection from the very center of the universe. So those are some things just to remind yourself. And she also gives a word of caution, like normal. When you claim this big myth, all of your other identities will likely begin to clamor for attention. Your judge may say, "Oh, that is not true. You suck. You are weak." Your victim may say, "Well, if you're an angel, then why are we struggling so much? Why won't someone take care of us? Where is my angel soulmate? Why do I have to work?" Smile at them, giggle, don't struggle, and slip past the voices and keep claiming your big myth as truth. And notice, what did you learn that you could put into action the next time a similar situation comes up, whenever your judgment or your victims start popping up, and start really being like, okay, I'm this myth, whatever your big myth is, and I'm going to move forward from this. Because a warrior of light, an Amazon princess, a peaceful warrior, daughter of the goddess, they're all going to move forward, no matter what you choose. So
Absolutely.
I think that's beautiful. And then
Yes.
your little myth, give us a little breakdown of little myth, please.
Well, little myth is how you choose the roles that you have in your day-to-day life here on planet Earth.
Hmm.
And it just thinking of the little myth as picking a role for each day or each situation. Like you pick your clothes to go to work, open your closet, and you say, okay, I'm a mother, I'm a writer, I am a doctor, I am a daughter, anything that you need in each situation, and that you are not fixed in one role or attached to any of those identities as the only way of being.
Mm, that's huge.
That's, yeah, it is. It is. It gives us so much fluidity,
So
flexibility, choice.
to help you girls figure out what your little myth is, she asked questions, which here I go, right?
The
What little
exercises, yes.
Yeah. What little myth would best serve me now? What action do I want to support myself in taking at this time? What window do I want to shine my light through? What you're going for in a little myth is a framework that reminds you of who you want to be. Use your little myth as a way to identify, create, and fulfill your current life purpose. And just make sure that the little myth or myths you choose are where you want to go, not where you have been. Then your little myth will help break old stagnant roles. So she mentions that she said her little myth was writer, and it was before she had even written her first book. And it was just to keep her on track every single day to make sure that she was writing the words that she needed, how many pages, etc., etc. So it could be, even you could be a princess. It's okay. Whatever role you see fit into your life. But if you're already a mother, maybe, you can still, of course, mother to your kids, but you can also mother your career. You can mother your purpose. You can mother whatever it is. What new thing do you want to give birth to, right? So you can think outside of the box, even with roles for that matter. I think that's huge.
Yeah, and they are a way to live your purpose of or to live your life as it is right now and to create it as you go. In reality, they're only myths. It's realizing that you're bigger than that. These are ways of being in the world, but without inner knowing that silent knowledge that you are one with the universe.
And I think that's
So,
beautiful.
yes. Certainly
This is
is.
so cute. I'm gonna read this last part here. Is this the ending? This is the last two paragraphs, guys and girls for that matter. All right, here's
Ah,
nothing. Whew. We're almost done, Marcella. Okay.
I know.
Don't forget, we're also going to mention what's next after, right? So,
Yes.
when you open your heart to yourself, quirks and all, you change the world. When you let go of pleasing others because you think you have to, when you relinquish trying to squeeze yourself into a metaphoric shoe that doesn't fit so you can be accepted, you come home to the comfort of yourself. And when you
Oof.
embrace the precious warrior goddess that you are, you naturally want others to know the truth of themselves as well. Each step in your healing, no matter how tiny, ripples out to heal everyone around you. And every time you embrace your fury nature or your sweet stillness, every time you deliver a full-bodied yes or a clear no, also makes waves. The world needs your brand of kindness and love, your power, your sacred ritual, your creativity, your quiet presence, your magnificent vision, your charming silliness. Here's to you, warrior goddess, embodied heroine, slayer of unconsciousness, beloved of the world. Go forth and empower. So
I get goosebumps every time I read that.
that was great. I have goosebumps. I wish I could show you guys. Okay.
Me too.
So
Actually, I experienced. I'm so honored. I Heather Ash so much. I'm her apprentice. Um, and of every single book I read in life, I understood finally what it meant to be aligned, let go. Decision is a choice to give up struggling and give up the belief that we need to work hard and struggle and everything we were taught that we need to be small, that we need not to talk or what, all of that, whatever it was, it is a choice.
yeah.
We choose to keep coming from that place. So I hope I did the honor of, to the book that
You
it
did
has
fantastic.
that it changed so much, and it changed my family, my relationships with the people I love. It made the people that did not belong in my life just move on, but from a place of just peace and just acceptance. It's so beautiful, and it does work, and it
And I
does
think
ripple out.
I think you also have connected a lot of beautiful women. Even with this tribe, you've made a difference, Marcella. So we really want to thank you, and I'm going to thank you for all of them for that matter. So thank you very much. We really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. And
Thank you.
before you go, I want to mention what's next for the Warrior Goddess training, right? So what happens after someone finishes Warrior Goddess training? What's the next step for them? Next step for them?
Next step will be to just practice everything that's in the book
Yeah,
and really do, huh?
keep practicing, definitely.
Yeah, keep practicing, really, really make the time and believe in it, and just try to get in any of the workshops. There are workshops all of the time. I will share meditation that we call it's like a safe space to go when you face a discomfort to go to, that helps a lot. So I promise to deliver that.
Okay.
And
For that meditation, so I know that you said that you wanted to get together like a little website for them to go to so they can get it automatically. I'm going to help
okay,
you with that. And then
perfect.
we'll for sure send that out before the end of September. It'll be part of the units like normal, where we'll have that information for everyone. So you can you can go back there and see it all the time. Okay. Just a heads up.
Absolutely. But
Yay.
then going to any of the workshops, or finding a Warrior Goddess training book club near, or a circle for that matter, if you really love that,
What happened?
okay, my computer just did something. Are you there?
Okay. You're still here.
Sorry, Andrea.
You're good.
Well,
You're still here.
we say you're beautiful when somebody says sorry, right?
You're beautiful. Yeah, that's a
thank
warrior
you.
goddess thing. I don't think we've mentioned that actually. So one last thing for warrior goddess training. One thing that Heather's huge in and she does in every single workshop is whoever says I'm sorry, everyone around them that hears it says you're beautiful.
Yes.
And one of the main reasons is because when you say I'm sorry, you're coming from a place where you're kind of saying, you know, oh, I'm sorry I'm in your way. You're kind of apologizing for who you are or what you're doing or who you're being for that matter. And we don't want to apologize for that anymore. You're beautiful just the way you are, just the way you're standing, exactly where you are right now. So
absolutely. Yes.
Yay.
Okay.
Yay! I think we're good to go. So we'll for sure keep in touch. We're not done yet. We still have a couple of days left for September. So we'll definitely keep all of you in check. Marcella's still there. If you have any questions for her, just tag her and she's here for the next couple of days. Okay. So
and
Evan.
I wanted to say that in the center that we are opening, we are going to have the Warrior Goddess Training Camp that we're going to run, like the 9 months Ignite program. So I'm going to share that when that happens with Chatzlyn.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And we'll keep that in mind for sure, for sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We're leaving. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Bye.
See you real soon.